In this episode, we have Lorenzo Botti, who is originally from Italy and is a supply chain data scientist working at Lonza, a pharmaceutical company based in Switzerland. Lorenzo, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you, Juanma, and welcome to you. And thank you for having me on the podcast.
It's a pleasure to have you.
I, mu- I must say, the first time you invited me, I was thinking, oh no, I'm not so sure. I don't like to talk about myself. But then I listened to your podcast, I understand what the purpose is. And I said, okay, this is about sharing experience more than showing ego, which I'm not really like
Absolutely.
to do. So I said yes. So apologies if today you will not be talking with anybody has had an experience like a top management, etc. It's just me and my career and my life.
Thank you for the insights. I think it's not about ego. That's a good point. It's really about helping others. And one thing that I've come across when I invite people is that they actually say, but my experience is not that much. Like, how can I help other people? La, la, la. It's enough if it's able to help your younger self. Like, would the advice that you have today help you 5 years ago? If so, that's more than enough. I'm sure you will be able to help other people who were in your situation 5 years ago. So that's it. And I also think you have a really interesting story. So let's deep dive a bit
See?
into that. Mm, I give the floor to you to give a brief explanation of your career on a high level, like which countries you've worked in and your areas of expertise.
So, in brief, my academical background is chemistry. If I must say, I never worked as a chemist. I've gone through several roles in engineering and consultancy. Uh, I've been a project developer for power plants for many years. Um, and in the end, I had to learn how to reinvent myself. And I did it via the business process analysis,
Mhm.
which led me then to the data analysis. Today, even if it is true that my current title is data scientist, I would say I'm more than a subject expert on how the process should look like. So I can make the analysis because I know about the process. And that's it.
Okay.
In very brief, my experience abroad. Well, I started my career in Italy where I studied. I spent few periods, very short periods abroad in the US, but because I was working for a company who sent me there for let's say 3 months, 4 months, something like that, and then mostly in Italy until something happened in my life, and we had to move to London as a family. So I was already in my 40s. We had our firstborn with us, and we had to go. Sometimes it's not that you plan everything, it's how you react to what is happening that matters. So how you embrace it, you know? You can endure, you can embrace, you have to adapt. So we landed in London. Actually, at the time, my wife was the breadwinner, so we were very well set under this perspective. But of course, I wanted to reinvent myself and to prove myself also on the UK market. After a few years there, we came back to Italy, where where I carried on being a consultant. I've always been an independent consultant after I left my corporate life of about 12 years. And now, after that, I landed a job in Switzerland, which is my current role. And I'm again in a corporate life after another 10 years or so of consultancy. So I've seen and I've lived both worlds, which I can say is very interesting because when you're in corporate, you can feel the belonging to something. When you are independent consultant, first of all, you have to find a job constantly. There are projects that could last for 3 months, other 6 months, other few weeks, and you have to always stay on the lookout for that and be able to juggle everything because sometimes they are available where you are not
Yeah.
available. So you must plan very well ahead. but at the same time, you can learn a lot from different industries.
Mhm.
Even though you always do similar things, the business drivers change change in the industry you are in. So understanding that helps you to develop more and more skills. First of all, because it comes to your mind immediately that whatever you know may be not valid in
Yeah,
the new project. So it's valid your approach, it's valid your skill set, but not your knowledge, and you have to learn
yeah.
fast. Something that sometimes if you don't, you will learn the hard way. Because client, I mean,
Yeah, it
if you
is what it
deliver,
is.
that you
Yeah.
deliver. If you don't deliver,
You don't
it's
get paid.
evident you don't deliver.
Exactly.
No, you don't get paid.
I think it was
Oh,
a,
they don't call you again.
yeah, 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 yeah. I think it was a great introduction and it already puts you on the map for the audience and it already sets up for a great episode because one of the things I want to capitalize, I want to highlight is the fact that you moved abroad with family already and in your 40s. Because something that I get told a lot is that for moving abroad, you need to be in your 20s. You need to be fresh out of college and you need to have this. I don't want to say young, but you know, this 20s spirit of I want to explore the world, blah, blah, blah. But it's really not like that. I know some cases of people who go in their 30s, in their 40s, even in their 50s. So your case is a really good example to show that you can do it at any age and you can reinvent, as you said, and there's no age for moving abroad. So we'll talk about that in a short time, a bit later. Before, I want to go a bit specific on the data analytics and these consultancy areas. What would you say are currently the main career paths or main areas into data analytics?
There are, I see two different sides. One, you can become a perfect geek, a perfect nerd of technical things. But if you're very efficient in developing something and delivering what they ask you to do. So build me a report, draw me an analysis, find out what's happening, even in machine learning, prepare a model, do something. Yes, to do what? You need to ask a requirement, constantly requirement. Those requirements need to be very precise, otherwise you're lost. I mean, it's like knowing everything about algebra, but you don't have any equation to apply it for. So you're an expert in algebra. Good.
You're missing the pragmatical approach, right?
Yeah.
Hands on.
It's different is if you are a subject expert in some areas, you have learned in time. You cannot learn it in a couple of weeks or in a seminar or in a semester during a master. You must live through it. If you learn that and you have the curiosity to learn also technical skills, knowing that you will never be comparable to a technician, to a person. I'm not an IT developer. I talk the language, I've learned that language, but I'm not. In front of anybody who is able to code, I say, okay, it's your area, it's not mine. But I know what I want to see. I know I want to see it. I know how to find it. I know where how the problems could look like and how the problems could be told me through the data. So I find a way for the data to tell me what they can tell. And this is easier for me because the requirements, of course, I get requirements from business, but I also can discuss those requirements. I can also understand exactly where to find the data for those requirements. It's different. So to answer your question very briefly, there are two sides. You can be technician, but you need to learn the process, the business, the areas, or you want to stay afar from that, totally agnostic, then you are more like a software developer. Build me this app that does that and that. Fine. Or you become an expert in a subject, but you also have the technical skills or you develop your technical skills to do it.
Okay, okay, I see. So either you specialize on the technology itself without specializing in industry or in business knowledge, or
Mhm.
you go into business knowledge and in parallel, you also understand how data works and how you can visualize it. I think that's a really good point that you're mentioning because I think everybody that has been incorporated sometimes has encountered these issues, which is talking to IT and asking for something or having a need, and then talking to IT and IT being completely unaware of the business. So they're asking you for technical things like, okay, give me the data set of this matrix, of this row, of this transaction. And it's like, I don't know. I just need the lead time. Like I need the lead time for this material to come. I don't know in which table of SAP I can find this. So your profile is specifically unique because you're mixing both worlds, right? So you're mixing the business knowledge with data analytics. So you know where to get the data and you know how to visualize it. This is the bridge that you're looking for into this
Yes.
kind of world.
However, say also being a pure technician is fine, perfectly fine. At a point in time in my career, I've been a project manager for a software company. And I was there because I could speak to the client and I could speak to the IT
Yeah,
guys.
exactly.
And,
The bridge.
and this is needed. I was joking, and when people ask me, what's your job? I'm a translator.
Yeah,
I
yeah, yeah.
translate languages, just that, because sometimes it's really difficult. What you say as a client, I would like to have this, must be translated. Okay, they need a report and must be a button. You click on the button and you get this. So it's but it's not bad. I mean,
Oh no,
nobody can
you need
know
that.
everything. I know that there are some things that I cannot do. And if I let's say I'm challenged with something I can't do, either I ask for help, or if I say, okay, let me study it. If I see that in few time and in very short time I can get that knowledge and do it, I will learn. That's always been my trademark, I would say. I like to learn. When I have, sometimes there are moments in your career where you work less. No, you don't have so many projects. What do? You wait? No, you learn.
Yeah,
You learn, or you try and take care of your network to gain more projects, of course. But you need to learn
yeah.
because at the point you must say what you can do,
Mhm. And
and
then in
you
this world, in 2025 that we are now, how fast technology is developing and how fast things are changing, either you learn or in 2, 3 years you're gonna struggle with the same knowledge of 3 years
Mm,
ago. It's gonna be hard to maintain always the
it
same
is
skill without improving.
it is but when it comes to data analysis, I would say that the core is there. There are some basic things that beyond the hype of the new tools or the new coding hype, you must learn. If you Most of the knowledge that we have in our system is built on relational databases. So you need to know how to query those databases. SQL is the basic.
Okay.
You must know something about SQL. That for sure. Even if you say, oh, but I will never use it. At a point in time, you will use it. You will find that one data source is in a database, is a relational database. You need to know how it is structured, how to extract data from
Mm.
that. You cannot just say, I want to drag and drop and build
Yeah.
out of drag and drop because there is some fancy app or some fancy software that allows me to do that.
Yeah, you need to understand
Um,
how it works from, I mean, in the background. How does it
yes,
work? It's good that you're bringing this
correct.
point because I wanted to ask you if there is someone looking to start their career into data analysis now, what would you say is the main thing for them to learn? So we all know about Power BI, right? But what else apart from that?
But for sure, SQL or MySQL. But however, something that can query a database, the way it must be queried, how to build your queries. Um, Focus on the ETL phase, extraction, transformation, and load, because there it is where you learn how to balance what you're building. Sometimes you make You must make just a one-off analysis. So you prepare the data, you do it fine. But in most of the cases, your reporting must live longer than expected or must be constantly updated. In that case, you must plan ahead. Okay, what will be the performance of this? If I push everything to the part that is querying the database, the time to refresh it will be incredible long. Can I afford this or not? Maybe I could balance from here and take some time from that and push some of the workload somewhere else that isn't that all the transformation that you do after when you show your visuals. But talking about Power BI is not the only one. There are many different tools.
Mhm.
One piece of advice I would give is stay away from the drag and drop. If you can come to a drag and drop. It's awesome being able to do that. You drag a field, you put in there, fine, perfect. But you must understand what's happening behind the scene.
Okay. Interesting.
That is just a fancy thing. If you don't know how it works behind the scene, there will be a moment where something is not working and you cannot say
Okay, I see.
what is not
I
working.
see your point.
So don't start learning from that. If there are, and there are magnificent tool where you just pull the data point, fine, perfect, and I put it here and there. Yes, you are a user,
Yeah, exactly. You're not developer. You just drag and drop, as
correct?
you say. Okay. I
Yes,
can see
drag and drop.
from
Oh, there are plenty. There are
the
plenty
I can see
of tools.
from your feedback that I mean your mindset is great to continuously learn and continuously adapt. So no wonder you were able to move to the UK in your 40s with a family and still succeed. I'm interested to know more about that move.
Well,
Mm, I understand the reason was personal, right? So it's not like you
mhm.
decided to move to London because you love the Big Bang or because you love fish and chips. It's because
No,
a
I,
different
I
thing.
can tell you very openly. There was a moment I was still in corporate life a few months earlier. There was a moment where that corporate life was coming to an end, not for my choice, but I could see it coming. It was not just about me; it was about the corporate itself. So I negotiated, and I said, okay, better start discussing before the tide comes.
Yep.
And so when I was reinventing myself in Italy, my wife at that time was working for a multinational company. She was broken the news that they were shutting the office in Milan and moving everybody to London. So we were like this. We were still having the baby. I was looking for a job. She was told, okay, we are shutting down. You can either uh, say goodbye or come to London. So we talked about it. It was not easy. It wasn't easy because you have to think, okay, when you are in your 20s, you land the first job, whatever it is, you can crash on the sofa of a friend or whatever. But you are a family, you can't.
Yeah.
You want to plan a bit. But I said, there is a job market there. It's interesting. We are covered with many interesting things because they were moving, my wife. So we, for sure, we had sort of a safety net on that. And I thought, okay, it's also a great opportunity for my kid to learn English from scratch,
Okay.
from the
You
very
stayed on the
beginning.
positive side.
Yes, no, I'm always on the positive side because I've learned in life you plan, but sometimes your plan
Yeah.
just don't go as you thought, and you must be ready very quick.
And how did you
If you
find the job? How was the process for you to move to the UK and start from scratch?
actually I applied a lot. One of the things that you must learn, I would say to a younger me or to everybody moving
Yeah.
abroad, when you go to a country, try and understand what are the drivers for the job market in the country. I was not moving with a specific profession like teacher or doctor. but I knew for sure that every application would be measured against my title, for example, my experience and my title, academical background. So the first thing on this under this aspect, UK is a quite stiff market. First thing I did was asking to get an official recognition, a comparison of my academical background against the level that are in UK. There is a process for that. You pay for that. You provide every document, and they tell you. And just to tell you, I have a Master of Science in Italy. Is it a Master of Science in Switzerland? It is also a Master of Science in Germany. In UK, it's a Bachelor of
Oh,
Science. Yeah,
okay.
but I knew I had to go through that, and I wanted to have it. And the first thing was, okay, I spend money to get it. It's probably, I can't remember, £100 or something like that. It's better to be able to prove your worth in terms of your papers first. Second, it is necessary if you're a doctor. If you want
Yeah.
to work as a doctor, you need to you cannot do it.
Mhm.
But if you go there and you want to work at a bank or somewhere else, you need to say, okay, I studied this. This is my level, and they must understand it. It must be easy for a recruiter or a hiring manager to understand what is your level compared
Yeah.
to their standard. They don't know anything about your country
Yeah. Yeah. I
unless
understand.
they are from your country. They know about their country, and so you must immediately say, translate
Yep.
yourself to that country, even though being told is a Bachelor of Science when you know it's a Master of Science is not really nice,
Yeah.
but it's how life it is. It is.
And
Then
regarding searching for a
the
job
job,
and application
a
process,
lot I tell you, I was not really successful in that in terms of landing a permanent job in UK. I've been a consultant at the point you have to start say, okay, application don't go through. I have a few interviews, yes, a bunch of them I've landed, but never to the third step or fourth step, etc. Always at the second step, yes.
mhm,
And you learn immediately there is a competition. The competition is there are pretty younger people around. They have a background that it fits is in an easier way to the standard because they are maybe from Anglo-Saxon origin country or something that immediately relate to the hiring manager, to the recruiter. You are something new, something
yeah,
different. Even though you translated your everything, etc., you speak English, etc., who is this guy? So you must be ready to think, okay, even though I could offer something to these jobs, I'm not the right fit for the process.
mhm,
And what are the alternatives? What is your plan B? You stay at home, you wait, or you say, okay, no, you have learned, I have learned how to build a bit of network. Something that is very helpful in UK is to go to meetings, go to forums, participate to conferences. You must spend time, of course, sometimes money. You must be in groups, so attend.
yeah,
In London, it's easy because everything happens there. If you don't live in London, probably it's difficult. But if you are in London, there are a lot of groups where your experience can have something to tell.
yeah.
That's
So
important. You don't
networking
go to
events. Yeah.
this, but you don't go there just to discuss your CV. You don't, because those are situations where maybe we talk at the time I was still interested in energy and I was going there. I could say something about energy project, etc. So the point was, if I talk about me or myself or my experience, this relates to some potential need. And that's the cue, the cue, the clue. What can you do for people?
Yeah,
Not,
absolutely.
I'm looking for a job. I'm looking for a job. You go and you find it. You can be there is a horeca, etc. It's hotellerie, etc. You can find everything. But if you want to spend your experience, you must make that experience interesting to people.
Absolutely. This is the worst thing about networking events, right? That normally everybody that goes there is asking for something or is expecting help instead of helping others. So the moment you change your mindset and you change the frame how you approach these events. Okay, I'm gonna go to
Mhm.
this event and I'm gonna try to help as much people as possible. Of course, you need to be aware of how you can help people and which is the forum that you're joining to see how you can better. mm, I don't want to say pitch, but propose your value, sell your value. But once you change the framework, it's super easy, right? Because who doesn't want to be helped? Everybody wants to be helped, right? You just need to be able to sell it. I
Well,
like it.
uh, and you also learn fast, very quickly, that a prospective client wants to understand what is this guy capable of doing for me. It's
Exactly.
not like it's another guy looking for a job.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody's helping or glad to be helped, and everybody is also glad to get a job. But if you really it comes out what you can do,
Yeah.
you will land a job where you can thrive.
Yeah. 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 It's the opposite framework. Instead of I'm saying I'm looking for a job in XYZ. Okay, I don't care about you. I mean, literally
Oh, maybe
speaking,
you're lucky.
why should
Maybe
I
you're
care?
lucky.
Yeah, you can be
Maybe you're
lucky, but
lucky,
it's
and
it's not like that, right? Like, okay, you're a stranger. I've just met you in this event, and unless I want to help, unless I really want to help people find a job, it is the wrong way you're doing it. Instead of that, say, okay, I'm an expert in doing A, B, and C, and I know that your company has this problem, so I would solve it like this, and that's it. It's okay. This
yes,
guy can help me.
never so easy to convey all everything in just a couple of
Yeah,
sentences. But if there is the opportunity to make understand and to be very open on what and why and how, etc. Yes, that's how it works.
right.
If you want to get a job that lasts,
Mhm. Yeah.
of course.
Okay. So networking was your main way to start this consulting experience into the UK and start getting traction, getting
Mhm.
clients, etc. One point that I think will be interesting is understanding salary range for a consultant in process analysis or similar to
Uh,
what you
that's
were
um
doing.
that's a bit difficult to say for me because a salary range would apply to a consultancy firm. So you and I had no chance to enter into a consultancy firm. So I started as a sole trader. So I
Okay,
had
so you
my
were
own project. I
freelancing the whole
was
time.
so
Okay, okay.
yes, and sometimes you are freelance for other company, consulting company, who would just hire you for the moment, for the project, etc. Not never directly with the client because they know you. They've learned what you can do, etc., etc. Come to know what you can do. So it's quite difficult because it doesn't relate to the permanent job, so a salary itself. What you can say is, okay, you must plan a bit. You have to pay your own taxes, you have to do the return, etc., etc. So you must understand what is worth. So you start really it's basic arithmetic. How much in taxes do I have to pay if I have a sole trader? The basic ones. How much in taxes can I afford to pay if I stay out of a project for 6 months? How much I need, etc. And so how much can I really ask for something? It cannot come that you ask 10,000 UK pounds per day because nobody will ever give it to you. Maybe somebody got it, but I don't. I didn't, at least in UK. So you must plan also on that and say what is the what is the hour or daily rate
Yeah.
that I can realistically ask for,
Okay.
but that is also worth the time I will spend on that.
Okay. I see. After that experience in the UK, you mentioned that you moved back to Italy and then
Mhm.
you moved to Switzerland. So my question is, why Switzerland? You were
Ah,
already in Italy, back home. Why did you want to move again?
well, my move is relative because I work very close to the border, and my center of interest is Milan. So I'm not in the situation where I have to take a plane to go home, or so far from everything.
Mhm.
It's not like London was farther,
Yeah.
for sure. So it's not a real move in terms of physical move that must be at balance or must be planned. How did I land this? First of all, when I came back to Italy, I started again reinventing. I used the network. I proposed myself to consultancy firm.
Yeah.
You have to target, of course. There's a moment where you say, okay, I don't go to McKinsey, they will never consider me folk. So I don't.
Yeah.
You go to you try and find other target. And it happened that a consultant I have worked with on a couple of projects in the past, at a point had this contact in Lonza, and he thought, you, for your experience, you are the fit for what they need now. And so I was introduced. We agreed on a period. Then that experience was extended and extended and extended again. At a point, there was no discussion about permanent job. I was also happy enough. I mean, I was earning good money, even though my tax were killing me, I can
Because you
say.
were a resident
But
in Italy at that time.
yes, at the time, yes, I was a resident in Italy,
You
so
were earning
I
Swiss
I
rates,
was
but with a fiscal residence
yeah.
in Italy.
Yes, so still good. I was earning good money, as I said, paying a lot of taxes on that. And also, I had a problem with the VAT because you also have to learn this. For example, in my declaration, I'm been for a while an importer because most of my income were from abroad where I could not charge the VAT.
Mhm.
But in Italy, I was paying VAT as a sole trader. So I could not balance VAT. I had to declare most of my income, which was more than 90%, or I can't remember the threshold, comes from another country. So I can ask for the VAT that I pay, and I cannot balance to have a sort of a tax credit. So it's never so easy
Yeah.
like when you get a salary. A salary comes to you.
Yeah.
When you
Freelancing
are
is a
when
different
you
world.
freelancing, you must learn taxes, you must learn a lot of things. You also must learn how to save money to pay when you are supposed to pay.
Mhm.
So a bit of discipline.
And
But
freelancing.
before
Yeah. Sorry. Go ahead.
But was I saying being permanent was not in my plan, even though I knew that after a while the job I was doing at Lonza for several reasons could come to an end. And at the time, internet networking, a person who I've worked with in several occasions was leaving the company. I knew it. I did not apply for that role, even though I thought, well, I could do that, but I did not apply for that role. And the point he came to me saying, after 3 or 4 months, they cannot find the person. You are the fit for this role. If you want to apply, apply. And I went through the process. I was in competition with every applicant. I did not have any safe spot to
Yeah.
land. I mean, I applied. I did everything I had to do, and I landed the job in the end.
Okay.
Again, a change.
And freelancing, I want to go back to your point where you said you were earning good money, especially living in Italy, but earning Swiss rates. Can you give us, of course, not a salary range because you were freelancing, but if we can get an estimation on what are Swiss rates for a freelance in pharma?
Oh, that depends on okay. What I can tell you is, if you want to compare market, Italy and Swiss, you can earn easily 50%, even 80% more compared to if you want to compare the rates. If you want to have an absolute values of rates, uh, I would say that You are, I give you a very large bracket because it's difficult to say where your experience can be in this bracket. So I don't want to uh, have people becoming, let's say, delusional, like say, okay, that's not so much, or oh well,
Yeah.
incredibly high. So a good bracket would be in between in francs, uh, a billion per hour. You should stay between 70 and 150. It's a very large bracket.
Okay.
Depending on the seniority, you can earn more.
Yeah.
You can also earn less than this.
Okay.
It's a large bracket. I'm not telling you where I was,
No, no,
but
it's just an estimation. I won't ask you exactly
it's an
what were you making.
estimation, yes.
Okay, thanks for sharing that. And then you went from freelance to employee in this company. And how do you compare that in terms of salary as well? How is it being an employee for a pharmaceutical
Well,
company? Do you have a salary range for that?
well, actually, I made my reckoning and I said, okay, if I apply for this, then I become a permanent. My situation will completely change. What is the level that I want? What is the salary that I want to maintain my status or
Mhm.
to improve it, considering everything? So I was moving to a different country. Yes, the taxes are different. I have something in Italy, so maybe I have also to balance this and that, etc. Um, so in the end, I calculated what I want to earn. And then I said it. They asked me about the salary range. I said, I'm considering this if this is it. No less than this. It was not so dictatorial. I mean, I said it in a nicer way,
Yeah, I
but I
understand.
said what is the minimum that for me was acceptable, which was higher than they expected. But then I said, I was open to that, to whatever could come out of that.
Mhm.
For less, it's a no. I will find something else. I will continue something else, etc., etc. So if I get that, I'm happy, and I got it. Of course, there is always room for improvement. Let's put it this way.
Okay.
Now, in terms of salary, it's difficult to share this because I'm Italian. We never share
Yeah,
how much we
don't
earn
share
from salary.
yours, but share what is a standard salary range for for a data analytics position in the pharmaceutical company, not for your specific
Um,
case.
I can tell you that at a point in time, I was talking with a person, a data analyst. Supposedly, this person had even more experience than I had. Then on the uh, let's say proof is in the pudding, they say in English. So there was not so much experience, but and he was claiming that he was earning not so much for several reasons, and he could find a job that the double for the double. Uh, I think he was not really perceiving, this person was not really in the right perception of the skill set that he really had and that really needed to land those jobs. But I would say that if you don't have so much experience, probably you would stay in between 70s and 80s or something like that. If you are experienced, you can get more and more about that. I'm not talking about a double, we're not talking about
Okay,
even more. But it depends really on what you can do. If you're really in the area, again, it's important to understand the subject more than else.
okay,
If you can,
I understand. Thank you for sharing the range. Then going now into a bit more deeper questions about living abroad. So going out about, for example, how was life abroad for you? How has living abroad changed how you see yourself? I want to understand your professional. profile? How do you think it has been enhanced by living abroad versus always staying in your country?
First of all, when you say I live there and there and there, uh, people perceive you in a different way because sometimes they have the same experience, so they totally immediately relate or they're curious. So even your profile in general somehow shines of a different light.
Hmm.
Okay, you have gone through something, you have
Yeah.
learned, you have reinvented yourself, you changed it. So there is a bit of uh, aura for that. But then about my profile, how it has changed. Well, I have to say I've been always an opinionated person. For sure, I'm not shy. I'm a bit of an introvert, but not that shy. And I say what I know. I'm not a person who stays silent in the room, etc. That's probably my one of my defect. And what living abroad can give you is to start listening a lot because what you are, what you have been, doesn't matter to anybody, really. It's a different place. It's a totally different place. In UK, for example, one of the things they have this GCSE grades that they get when you are in a middle school, more or less, etc. In Italy, there is nothing like that. In Italy, what matters is your university. What have you done at university? And understanding that you have been graded in a different way from how they have been graded, and they ask you to, to compare to the grading system. It helps you to understand that whatever you have learned, maybe it's not that important, how you perceive yourself, how you can you sell yourself.
Yeah.
One thing is to be, I was a top in the top tier since I was in my grammar school. Good. That's something. I cannot say it. There was no such a thing in Italy.
Yeah.
I mean,
I
I
understand.
can say I did a position when I got my degree, but then what is important to get a degree?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
It's not what you have done when you were 14, 16, 13. Nobody asked you about
Yeah.
that.
Moving
In
abroad, you
UK,
realize
it
it's
matters.
exactly, it's everything about who you are now. Don't talk to me about your pedigree, about, okay, what are
Yeah,
you able to do now? Because, as you say, maybe people don't check your past that much because they cannot relate to your past. So if you haven't grown up in Italy and you don't know about the grading system in Italy, why would I care about which university you went to in Italy and your background and which
right.
problems are you able to solve now? That's it. That's all I care.
That's that's why again, you cannot go with your ego
Mm,
because your ego will be suffering from the very start.
yeah.
You would go there. I was the first in my class.
Yeah. So what?
Nobody really. So what?
You're not getting any
So
clients
what?
saying that. Yeah.
I am. So what? There are plenty of people around you. There is plenty of competition.
Mm,
Younger people, or it's not just younger in age with the same experience.
mhm. Yeah. Okay.
This can happen.
And keep talking about life abroad. How has been integration and social life for you? For example, in the UK.
Uh, I'm always positive, so I would say it was good. I like to blend in. I'm not a person who look always for the Italian community abroad because I want to have my tradition,
Yeah,
my food, etc. I'm not that kind of person. Of course, I meet people and I like to meet people, and but not necessarily to have the Italian
yeah.
community to live
Okay,
with.
so you're
I'm
living
open to
in a
everything.
small Italy, but outside of Italy.
Yes, I'm not that kind of person. No judgment on that.
Yeah,
I was not looking for that, so I really tried to blend in and to meet other people.
yeah.
And I think they were welcoming, open.
Okay.
You have to learn different ways. Of course, if you talk with UK people, but also with Swiss people, they're not that, apparently, they're not that warm
Mm,
as maybe uh,
yeah.
Latin people are. but it's on the surface. It's on the surface.
Hmm.
So you also have to learn that. Living abroad, you must learn different ways to do same things.
Yeah.
You go to a doctor, totally different from your country.
You need to
So
reinvent yourself in every area of your life, not only
everything.
professionally, but yeah, also
You
socially.
cannot ask to say I live here, but I want to have everything that I know from my past applying here. Doesn't matter.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. That's a good point. Give me 1 second, Lorenzo. I need to plug this
Yeah,
in.
please.
I was running out of battery. I forgot to plug it in. Okay. All right. So we were talking about living abroad. All right. Yeah. And then, for example, if I ask you what was the best and the worst about the UK and about Switzerland, what would you say?
The worst in UK was at a point, that was about my kid.
Mm.
We had our firstborn and we had also a secondborn. Um, they check on the kid constantly, which is extremely good. So there is a the national healthcare is very supportive with your children. And at a point, they were very strict because my son, who was really bilingual. He would say things in English or things in Italian and skip immediately depending on the context. Just to say, when I was walking him to the nursery, he was speaking to me in Italian. As soon as we entered the nursery, switch to English like that. No,
Yeah.
was natural to him. Of course, as a kid, he could not say so many things and he could not argue and so. But we were checked because there was a sort of a nurse, something. And so I went and they said at this point in his life, he must know 50 words. 50 words. Okay, I think he knows 50 words. Let's check. So she counted, there were 49 words. And but he could say exactly in Italian and English, and he was not mixing. Really, the context was the key for him. It was not There was no confusion for that. But she was so strict, saying, "Okay, no, is beyond is coming out late in his development skills for the language. So you must go through a sort of a process to help him develop the language." And I was like, really? Are we here counting numbers like that? 50, 49, even two languages? And so we went through this process. We went a couple of times to meetings. One thing I was told, I mean, I think I can speak English quite well. Maybe it's not perfect, but I can explain myself and understand. I can watch TV,
Well,
etc.
what are you saying? I cannot
Um,
understand.
yeah. Um, and I was told that it would be better for him if we could try and speak only English at home,
Mhm.
not to get him confused. And I was feeling like, are you are you listening to me? I explained you our story, the fact that my wife works, I work, we have friends, social life here. We speak in English with our friends here, not because they're not just Italian, there are many from many different countries. So our kids is not exposed to a very secluded world where we speak the original language only, and they have to somehow learn by himself English. English was his social life, and I was a bit shocked about that.
Mhm.
Being treated like that time I felt I was that I was an immigrant somehow.
Yeah, yeah, I understand. So you were not
And it was
meeting the
like
integration program of the UK in some way.
sort of,
Mhm.
but
I see.
and that was the only thing that somehow switching me sort of something I disliked.
Yeah.
but for the rest, they were being very welcoming and a great place to live. If I were to move again to UK, I would probably move again to London. It is expensive. It is really expensive, but I would love to go back there. Yes.
Okay. And the best and the worst about Switzerland.
The best of Switzerland is organized. You have a problem, you go to the Gemeinde, you apply for something, they tell you in 5 days this will happen, you will get a call, you will get this, etc. In 5 days it happens. And the first time I was a bit worried because I have to go through several things, and they say, okay, we'll arrive by post. Come on, it's something very important. No, it cannot be by mail like that. In Italy, I would never trust those
Mm.
documents coming to me by mail. And I would say, yes, of course, by mail. And it happened. And so it's very well organized. Everything, the train,
Yeah.
everything is organized. The worst, probably I've not yet experienced the worst, so I cannot say I'm really satisfied about Switzerland. So,
Okay. That's a good answer. I've never
um,
had it.
no,
So you really stay on the positive
no,
side. It was not just saying, it really
no.
is like that.
Maybe tomorrow something will happen, and I will say, "Oh, come
Yeah,
on,
yeah, but not
this is
yet.
crazy." But so far, no. Again, I did not come thinking, oh, they are going to hug me and to welcome me, etc. I
Mm.
understand there is not such a warm
Yeah.
um, type of approach to people, but I'm also that type of guy. I don't do that, so
Okay.
I'm perfectly in my place.
Okay. So that's a good fit. Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
Thank you. And then we're reaching towards the end of the podcast. But before we finish, I have three quick final questions that also need three quick answers. The first one is your favorite local food. In your case, two, one from the UK and one from Switzerland.
Okay. In UK, I really loved English breakfast.
Yeah, that's so good.
I'm a salty breakfast guy, so whenever I had the opportunity, I had these eggs, beans,
Yeah, full
etc. I really
breakfast. Yeah,
love
I
them.
love it.
Not really the sausage, but the mushroom, the eggs, and the beans, yes.
Yeah.
And I also liked a lot going to parks and maybe having something quick at a cafeteria like a soup.
Hmm.
I'm a soup guy.
All right.
So I love that. And in London, there is so much different, there are so many different cuisines. I love Indian cuisine, so it's not really local, but now
Yeah, yeah, but it
it's
needs to
become
be
it
local.
has become local. Yes, it needs to be local. In Switzerland, well, so far I have found so many. If I haven't not yet tried found a real Swiss cuisine, because whenever I go, there is something Italian, something French, something German. So maybe uh, it's a matter of where I go, but mm, I cannot say that I have found a local food. I found a good level for the restaurant, so the dinery outside is great. I
Swiss
like
people
it.
will kill you
It's
for saying you haven't found anything.
No, sorry. I hope
But I understand what you're
I,
saying.
I
Yeah.
I haven't
It's a
tried.
mix.
Probably
Switzerland is a mix.
the only thing that probably is really specific is a cordon bleu in Basel, but I would not say it's my favorite food. It's something that I
Okay.
eat. I like to eat, but
Yeah, I see the point.
I've not yet found the thing.
All right. And the second one is one book that you recommend, and it can be any topic.
Uh, well, I've read a lot of Philip Roth. One of my favorite books of him is American Pastoral. And the reason I like it is because it is at the very beginning of the book. It says something. There is the main character is a very successful person. Is successful in business, and author also tells you the story from since when this guy was a young guy. So he was an athlete, the sport, the lead of the sport team at the school, etc. Very well welcomed by everybody, admired by everybody, etc. And the point is says, if you wanted to find a defect, he was lacking a bit of auto-irony. But the point is, you don't need to be ironic if you are so perfect under many aspects. And that's important to me. It's something that I always thought. You need to use irony always, because whatever you can think about yourself, there will be somebody else that is richer than you, younger than you, more handsome than you are, even better person that you think you are.
Yeah.
So always try and say, yes, we talk a lot about ourselves, but we need to understand what are our defects. Even if you feel great, you probably have something. You are not looking at the something, overlooking that something, and that could be your problem in the future.
Okay. That was unexpected, but yeah, sounds interesting. And that links a bit with the last question that I have, which is, what is the best advice that you ever received?
Well, the best advice I've ever received is learn what you can do for people. When you go and look for something, you must convey the most important piece of information, that is, what can I do for you? It's not like I'm good at doing this and that. Fine. What can I do for you? So you need to understand, you need to plan. And that's something that I applied ever since.
I like it. Thank you for that. Lorenzo, it was a
Thank you.
pleasure.
My pleasure. And thank you for having me again.
Thank you. Ciao, ciao.
Ciao.